No, the one that I like the most that never made it into the game is Cheney Mania.
Oh man!
Which is when you shoot one of your own players.
Oh no!
Cheney Mania.
Oh, no.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to GalaxyCon Live, where we bring the convention experience directly to you. I'm your host for today's panel, Mario Bueno. Released alongside the original Xbox on November 15th, 2001, Halo Combat Evolved went on to spawn a sci-fi franchise nearly unrivaled, not just in gaming, but pop culture as a whole. With the next installment, Halo Infinite, releasing alongside the 20th anniversary of both the system and the original game, we are very excited to have a nice little roundtable with some of the folks who have been living rent-free in our heads, as well as on our gaming consoles and PCs. So let's start with the first literal voice that has been living in our heads as collective Halo fans. You know them as Gramps in The Last Video Store on Earth. You know them as The Chief and Pete Banbury in Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories. They are the announcer in the Halo series. Please welcome Jeff Steitzer to our virtual stage. Hello, hello.
Hey, Mario, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. It's a pleasure to get to speak to you. Glad to have you here. How have you been today?
Good. Very nice indeed. A little overcast where I am.
Yeah, it's been alternating over here in Brooklyn, so I feel you there.
Yeah.
Also, yes. Also joining us here on our virtual stage, another voice who has literally lived in our heads as Halo players over the course of this journey. You know them as Tomiko in Aliens vs. Predator 2. They have provided the voices for Peach, Toad, and Toadette for Nintendo games across the years. They are the voice of Salem in Ruby and the voice of Cortana in Halo. Please welcome back to GalaxyCon Live, Jen Taylor.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back. It is good to see you again. How have you been since our last chat? Gosh, all the way back in February this year.
Yeah, a little busy. I was a little busy.
Yeah, I recall last time we spoke, you were about to travel abroad for some fun work adventures. I don't know if you can talk about those yet, but how did they go? Was it a fun and productive trip?
I can talk about it a little bit. Yeah, it was great. I went to Budapest.
Woo!
Yeah. We'll get to that later. Very scenic, very beautiful. I couldn't go inside anywhere because of COVID, but it's really beautiful outside. Buildings are gorgeous. Yep.
No, I'm glad to hear that it was a good and successful trip. Yeah. And we cannot have a Halo panel without the main man himself. You also know them as Star-Lord in the Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. They have had a prolific career in radio. They are the Master Chief himself. Please welcome Steve Downs back to the GalaxyCon Live stage. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Mario, how are you?
Doing just fine. I really appreciate you accommodating us by bringing us back poolside again.
I thought I'd bring you a little Florida sunshine here. We got plenty.
Oh yeah, I was saying in the pre-show, I was crossing my fingers that you were going to be taking us poolside again, because as I mentioned to everybody pre-show, last time we spoke, it was February. I'm here in Brooklyn. It was very cold, so it not just warmed my body, but also my soul to see nice, cheerful, sunny poolside.
I love
in
the
dark
floaty. I love the floaty in the back there.
I would say maybe I'll jump in later, but I don't think
there we go.
Out well on a number of levels, but
literal victory lap after we're done with today's panel and the one-to-ones.
Yeah. There you go.
I'll be giving freestyle lessons at the end of the show.
Oh, fantastic! I need one.
There we go. Come for the Halo Q&A. Stay for the poolside swimming lessons.
There you go.
We got you covered, y'all. Yeah. But in all seriousness, thank you all so much for taking the time to join us here today. Like I mentioned in the introduction to today's panel, we are coming up on the 20th anniversary of not just the Xbox line of gaming consoles, which has been transformative to the video game industry in modern times, but of course the day and date 20th anniversary of the Halo franchise, with Infinite coming out also on the day of the 20th anniversary. So it's a very exciting time, certainly, to be a Halo fan. I'm sure it's been very exciting for all of you who have been part of this journey. So to kind of get us started before we get into our first fan questions, I wanted to ask, as the series has evolved in terms of the production of these games, what have been the moments for you along the way that have really stuck out and shown you, the growth at those particular points. I know we lightly touched on this, Steve and Jen, last time we spoke with, a few of the things from particularly Halo 4 onward, but even working on Infinite, have there been moments where you've just looked back and said, wow, this is totally different from, the first time I stepped into the booth just to knock out these lines. This is, wow, look at how far we've come.
For me, the technology keeps changing. So the first game I did, the first several games I did, I was in a booth by myself. And I still do that occasionally, but now we're doing, PCAP, performance capture. So it's a different game for me entirely. And every time I've done it, the technology has advanced. So things are slightly different. Like the dots on my face are slightly different. The suit I'm wearing, slightly different. The things I have to do technically shift a little bit because the technology just leaps and bounds as far as the technology goes. So that is my experience of it. I'll say even in the beginning, the first game, I spent a lot more time in the booth than I did the second game because they sort of had figured out what they were doing a little bit better, I felt like, in the second game. So as far as technically, for us, for voiceover actors. So I spent less time there because we were a little more focused. Gentlemen?
I would say, every time we, over a 20-year period, every time we've gone in to record, and you have to understand that sometimes while we're recording, you don't see, if you see anything at all, you don't see certainly the finished product. They'll show you enough so you can get some sense of, where you're at, physically in the game at that point. But each time I see sort of the finished product, I'm just waiting for the next time when it's going to be all AI and it's like going to be all 3D. Cortana is literally going to be in your living room as a 3-dimensional being. I mean, can we be that far away from that? It's the leaps and bounds. We've been on up until this last game, we've been on pretty much a 4-year cycle, and every 4 years, it's the whole thing seems to be reinvented again. It's to me, just as a fan, it's wondrous to see what they come up with.
My situation is a little bit different than both you folks because I'm still in the booth. They won't let me out. It's like every couple of years, whenever these come around, I just go in and get pages of copy and go down the page and do 3 of each one.
Yeah. So, and just to clarify what Jeff said, he literally is not let out for 4 years. Every 4 years, somebody knocks on the booth door and see if he's still there.
Exactly.
Are you hungry?
have a little food tray slot to keep him nourished.
That's not the case, but yeah, absolutely. So it's very, very different. I also can say that I have seen Jen in her outfit with all the white dots. It's a very good look for her.
Oh, it's a great look. It's
Absolutely.
a great look. Yeah.
You're mean.
I've never seen it. I was out there recording some stuff, and these guys were out there as well. We realized it was the first time I'd ever met Steve.
Yeah.
Was 2 years ago, 2019, after having been.
No, it was 2020.
What? Was it 2020?
It was 2020.
It was right before the pandemic.
Yeah, right before.
Like literally days.
Literally right before the pandemic.
I remember we were looking out the window at Evergreen Hospital where they were bringing patients from Kirkland, which is where the big first outbreak happened. And we were looking out the window. We could see it and all of the ambulances going by. And some of the actors from LA were a little freaked out. We were all a little freaked out. But
it was literally exploding at that moment while we're recording. It was it was pretty wild.
The nursing home was blocks away. Yeah. I think I passed it trying to find the recording studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yes, 2020, you guys met.
Yeah, very, very fortuitously timed meeting.
Yes, indeed it was.
So long.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thank you for providing that insight because again, it's one of those things that certain elements, especially on the voiceover side, you would expect certain things to be, very cut and dry. But especially with as was mentioned, getting these essentially dailies, but watching the evolution of them, it sounded like it might be a fascinating experience to just see, the growth, especially, working with these studios that have been consistently on this project, watching them grow, watching them, evolve their style of working with you. So thank you for sharing that insight very much. So let's jump right into our fan questions, because I'm sure that our fans are very excited to hear from you and hear your thoughts on what we have. So let's just get that first one queued up. This one is from Sean. Steve's probably prepared for this one already. If you could have one weapon from the Halo universe, what would it be? Take it away, Steve.
Sean, I'm glad you asked. How about this baby? And this has some heft to it, actually. And I don't know if you can see here, but is signed by most of the 343 crew who worked on the game at one point or another. And it actually really works, except I don't have any batteries.
It really works?
It really, really works. It really shoots plasma, Jen. Unfortunately,
wow, if you live in Florida, get out. Just run now, because
But
the plus side, I'm sure it makes barbecues a lot easier for you.
It does. Boom, steaks, boom, done. Yeah. But I kind of like this little baby.
So I there's a weapon that I really like that I'm not sure. I think it's new this game, so I don't want to say it out loud because I'm afraid I'll get in trouble. Yeah. There's a really
shiny new one that we are going to be finding out about in less than a month's time.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. And it's
I'm not allowed to use weapons.
And there's a good reason for that, by the way.
It's why I'm in the box.
His brain is his weapon.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Cortana is the weapon, right? Come on.
That's exactly what I thought. That was my first impulse.
So Jeff, are you going to defer to Jen's insinuation of mind bullets as your favorite weapon?
Mind bullets. That's going to be the favorite.
Mind bullets.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Thank you for those wonderful answers. And let's see what our next wonderful question is. Oh, okay. So we're going to go career side for this one. This one's from David, and David's asking, what got you interested in acting, and was there any particular piece of entertainment that inspired you?
Well, when I was a kid, I used to do voices, from cartoon shows and things like that. Honestly, I think that might very well have been what influenced me to get interested in performing, because I would run around and be stupid,
Cartoons.
Oh yeah, I mean Bullwinkle and Boris and Natasha and stuff like that. Huckleberry Hound, I suppose. And then a little bit later, I realized it was a great place to find friends and hang out. It was a great
Find your people
social situation. And once I got started, I just kind of never stopped.
You made that sound really creepy, Jeff.
Well, or at least a little bit reflective,
Okay.
Bring my dotage. But I think that was probably what it was. And then seeing like Disney movies when I was a kid, that's what inspired me.
I would say, the same cartoons and whatnot, but there was also a theater in the small town that I grew up in, which is funny because Jeff and I have since worked there together.
Really?
Jeff has directed me in several plays. But anyway, they would do a summer show for kids that kids would direct and star in. And my mom took me to one when I was 10 or 11. And this is back in the day, frankly, when there were not a lot of shows aimed at kids. It's very different now. Things have really changed, in my opinion. But back in the day, there weren't that many shows aimed at kids other than cartoons, right, on TV. So it was the first time I saw kids acting, and I remember on stage, and I remember thinking, what? I could do this. I want to do this. What? I want to do this. And I got involved with that theater when I was a kid, and that's what got me into theater in school and college, and then voiceover came along with that. So that was mine, watching theater.
Yeah, I think mine was, it sort of all goes back to music in a way, and I mean, really the game changer, and for me, in many ways, was watching the Beatles on television. Wow. And when the Beatles came on Ed Sullivan, my world changed in every way you could possibly think of, and including career. I didn't really know it at that time, but later on, when I realized being a drummer in a rock band was probably not the wisest career move. So I kind of shifted from that to being a disc jockey on the radio, but really the behind all of that was a love of the music and wanting to be close to it in any way that I could, from performing, and then moving on to presenting performers. And that's really and then the voiceover sort of was an outgrowth of that, but that's where it all began, really.
It's so many interesting things to kind of pick apart. I'll just work in reverse here, starting with Steve. So it's interesting to hear that essentially, that idea of really, emceeing and hosting was kind of your gateway. Because I know for me personally, it's been kind of the opposite, trying to go into all that, but then finding the voice, so to speak, of doing more hosting and presenting. So it's really cool to hear, that kind of journey as well. I also wanted to popcorn back to Jen and Jeff, because Jen, you mentioned doing theater and having had Jeff as director. Would you be able to share some of the highlights of some of the things you've worked on?
Oh, shows that we've worked on together.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we did. What was the first show we did? Was it Pygmalion?
Which? No,
Two Gens. Oh, we did Two Gentlemen of Verona. We did that down in California together.
San Jose rep.
Oh my gosh, do you remember those costumes I had? I had the most amazing costumes. I was playing a movie star, and I had the most, from the 1920s. Oh.
Yeah.
You also had a picture of you, as you may recall, on what looked like one of those big doors that they had that
as Juliet
into a sound stage. So there was a 35-foot tall picture of Jeff.
Yeah.
One of the backdrops for one of the scenes. It was pretty cool.
Wow.
It was an amazing show. You did a great job with that. We did that, and we did Pygmalion.
Yes, we did. That was quite remarkable. You were an incredible Eliza Doolittle.
I got the best. When Jeff cast me, he said, I don't know if you remember this, Jeff. You called me on the phone. And so I had been told that I wasn't grubby enough, that I wasn't, So I went in and I wore torn jeans and I wore gloves and I looked gross. And Jeff said to me, he called me and he said, it seems like you weren't really, you didn't dress up. It seemed like you weren't that interested in being the, and I was like, no, I was trying to do what the thing. And then he said, well, nobody really nailed it, but I guess I'll offer you the role.
That sounds like me, actually.
There's an endorsement for you.
Folks would say that. The very first time we all put on costumes and makeup for the dress tech, Jen showed up and was literally unrecognizable. My jaw was on the floor.
Oh, wow.
It was like, because not many people, most Eliza Doodles would do a little bit here and a little.
No, I was.
She looked like she crawled out of a sewer. It was amazing and perfect. Yeah,
anyway, we did that, and then we also did the Mousetrap.
Yes, we did.
Yes, I talk like this, and I had a very short haircut, and I smoked cigarettes the whole time. And
We're always looking for new projects to do together because he's spectacular.
Yeah. Hey, I want to interject here,
Go for it.
Mario, if I could for a minute. I have a question for Jeff. What was it like directing Jen? Because I've tried. You know what I mean?
You stinker.
Maybe you could give me.
I suspect it's a lot harder if you're just a fellow performer.
Yeah.
Somebody who is perceived as being a person in power. No, actually, the thing's interesting is that Jen and I have never acted together, have we? I don't think we have. It's weird. Seattle being a small town, you come from Chicago, and it's like there's that weird thing that happens where everybody kind of knows everybody else and eventually works with everybody else.
Yeah.
Very much the case in Seattle, I think.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure.
And for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, Steve, thank you so much for that, because I was actually going to, further defer over to Jeff for a moment, because you talked about directing. A lot of people who are both, talent and also production crew have very different interpretations and feelings on wearing the different hats, so to speak. So real quick, before we move on to our next fan question, I guess a two-parter. Number one, do you prefer acting or directing more? And do you have any particular elements of one of these sides that you feel positively influences the other?
Yes. When I'm acting, I would prefer to be directing. And when I'm directing, I wish I was acting. Because directing involves an awful lot of being in long meetings that bore the pants off. And also, trying to find the right way to talk to actors. And being an actor means that you're very often in situations where you don't have a lot of control. And that can be a little bit cranky making for me. But I absolutely believe that having started out as an actor has been a very valuable thing for me being a director, because I think the actors are the most important part of the process. And, trying to help them do what they're trying to do is what I think my job really is. I remember I was doing a show with Christopher Plummer in New York.
Nice.
Drop that name.
Thank you very much. And I actually asked him, I said, Chris, what do you want from a director? And he said, to stay as far away from me as possible. And I thought, whoa, I laughed. And then I thought, no, that's actually true.
Stay far away.
I think most actors would say. Morgan Freeman just was quoted as saying something very similar about that, working with Clint Eastwood. I thought, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Let us do our jobs.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Well, thank you very much for that insight. Do appreciate it. So next up in the queue from our fan questions, this one is from Shaw. Oh, this is always a fun one. We got this in our last anime panel. So let's see how it goes here. What other fandom would you like to see have a crossover with Halo?
I got something completely weird, like something totally out of the world, like Mario Brothers or something like that would be super fun, right? Completely different world, totally different objectives. That's what you want.
Actually, Charles Martinet and I have done and Jen, we've all three been at conventions together, and he of course the voice of Mario, and we've done panels together where we've kind of done a mashup of Halo and Mario, and it is sick. Let me tell you, it is sick. But I think Jen's onto something. I think there's something there. There's a crossover there that needs to be explored.
Jeff Steitzer, you don't know what we're talking about.
No, I absolutely do, but I don't know. I just can't think of any fandom that seems like it'd be a great match or an unusual match. God, what would it possibly be? I don't know. I did a kids game called Pajama Sam.
Pajama Sam.
That sounds like
if they were let loose into the Halo universe.
That sounds like a natural.
Interesting. Yeah. It wouldn't be a long game though, would it?
No, it would not be.
Probably.
What if like I did backyard baseball. What if Chief had to play baseball instead of
Okay, so this is about to get like on a good weird tangent here. So I don't know if you're familiar with the River City Ransom game or River City Girls or any of that. The original Japanese franchise that's based off the Kunio-kun games. It traditionally was a brawler game. They've done so many spin-offs where they take the characters and do dodgeball. Like the NES dodgeball game was derived from that series. They do soccer games, sports games. So what I'm hearing is, We want to see a Halo mashup of sports games or party games. So basically Mario Party, but Halo.
Yeah.
I think Cortana doing an exercise thing would be
Oh.
kind of amazing.
That's a
That would be
no-brainer. Absolutely.
Would that be great?
No, I think she'd do some MMA.
Ooh.
She'd just kick butt.
Yeah, she would.
Come on.
Very
Yes,
likely
would.
so, yes.
Exercise video.
Yeah.
Dear Nintendo, we have a great idea for some DLC for fitness boxing too. We know that you're on good terms with Microsoft. Let's make this happen,
Like,
y'all.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, that'd be a fun time. And there is that part of me that is both happy for Masahiro Sakurai, who never has to make another DLC again, but also very sad because I was hoping for some Halo representation in Smash. That would have definitely ticked all the boxes of our conversation here.
Yeah, indeed.
There's another timeline where we're talking about, oh yeah, and they just announced Master Chief in Smash. So hey, there you go. Hey, problem solved.
Brilliant.
All right, let's move along to our next question. This one is coming from Kevin. What has been your favorite Halo game to play?
That's easy. None of them. Because I suck at Halo.
We're idiots. We can't play it.
I'm a buffoon. I mean, it's funny for about 10 seconds, and then it gets sad, you know?
It's the dark secret of the Halo universe.
Yeah.
None of us are any good at Halo.
No, I went through.
Jen's probably better than most.
I was determined to play through it, and I was going to play on the easy, like do the whole thing on easy, like as easy as possible. So I still if I can, my husband and I are planning on doing that before Halo Infinite comes out.
Well, and your husband Colin happens to be pretty good at it. So, you have a built-in, instructor there.
You just dropped my husband's name in the middle of
I did. And I'm going to give his phone number out here in a minute. So.
Master Chief just straight up doxing Cortana live. we always have a surprise for y'all here.
There you go.
Let me tell you. No, but in all seriousness, though, that is actually a great way to kind of approach it. I was even going to quip to Jeff and Steve. Just do a co-op campaign. That was actually how I got by the hardest difficulty to get the special ending in the original Combat Evolved, because it was way too hard for me to solo. I just tackled it with a friend. We took advantage of the checkpoints when you die. Oh no, I'm about to die. There's no help. Yeah, just finish me off and just get over to the checkpoint.
Yeah.
We're good.
Right.
And you can chip away at the experience. So then I guess.
Sorry,
yes, go on, Jen.
No, we've done a couple times. Colin and I have played together. Now you guys know his name, Colin.
Yeah.
And I have played together where he's been playing online and I've had the headset on talking to people.
They don't believe it's you. And they don't believe
I don't
it's you.
say it's Jen Taylor. I'm just talking to it. And it's mostly kids who are, yelling at me and swearing at me and being really nasty.
That's nice.
So, yeah. Yeah. And then I remember one day we did it and Colin went on afterwards and was like, by the way, guys, that was Cortana. And they're like, yeah, shut up. I'm going to kill you.
Reminder, kids, keep it civil online. Please.
You never know what it might
you
be.
never know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the way,
somebody threatened to kill
this is how
me
they get
several
you.
times.
if you don't,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Master Chief's ready for you.
I was threatened a lot.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, now we hopefully have a nice positive tale to turn it around. Just like, look, guys, like be cool to the people you play online, because they could legitimately be the people who are giving you that joy with the power of their acting. So
Right.
We're all about teaching in the Halo universe.
And like I said, this really works.
Exactly. Don't grief the chief in real life. So then I guess a kind of alternate take on this question before we move on to our next one. If not, favorite Halo game to play, favorite Halo game, to watch and experience, if you've had the opportunity to at least, sit down for, a playthrough, whether it be through someone else playing it for you or, a video you may have caught, maybe on a flight or something, just like to kill some time.
Right. Jen.
Go, Steve. We have the same answer. We always for this.
We
one.
always do.
Yeah.
Halo 4.
Or
For like I like watching all of the games. The problem is, sidebar here. I was watching a documentary on the making of Dark Side of the Moon, and David Gilmour at the very end of it said, I wish I could have the experience of putting on Dark Side of the Moon and listening to it with headphones all the way through and enjoying it. He said, I can't have that experience because he came from it. Obviously, he was in the middle of it. So, how that relates to me watching Halo is all I'm thinking about is, boy, could have done that better.
Yeah.
That wasn't very good. Oh boy, I'd like to have that one back. So I can appreciate everybody else's performance, but my own is a little painful. But it's fun because I think it's a great, above and beyond the gameplay. What attracted me to the whole thing in the first place was the story, and I love watching the story, and they've all been great. But Halo 4, for Jen and I, from a making of standpoint, it was the first time Jen and I ever worked together. It was the first time we were ever in the same room. We had met for the first time, months before, maybe? A
couple months before, yeah.
And then worked together in the same room, recording our lines, and that was just a magical experience for me, and not to mention enriching. So, when I think of favorite games, I think of my, what it was like to do it, to be in it, and that was a lot of fun.
Poor Steve. I think I jumped on you when I met you. I think I was like, Steve down!
In a good way. Well, the funny thing was, and Jen said it perfectly, you said something to the effect of, you're the only person in the world who understands what I've been going through.
The journey that I've been on.
Yeah. And I felt the same way. And so we became instant friends and fast friends and have been ever since. But
but I think I tackled him. I think that was the first thing I did was tackle him.
I don't think I went down though, did I?
No, I don't think you went down, but I'm
maybe wobbled a little bit, but yeah. It'd be a different story now. If you tackled me now, it'd be a different story.
No, I'm known for my tackle.
Yeah.
Jeez. Jeff, any thoughts from you on this?
I think it's always the next game. That sounds wussy, but I
No,
remember when I went in to do the very first one, and Marty took me around to show me some of the visuals that they were working on, which at the time were unbelievable, and of course now have been completely eclipsed over the years. So to see the way that the thing has developed and grown and evolved, has exactly. That's been one of those things that has been absolutely jaw-dropping, is that every time, and of course the stuff that I haven't seen a lot, the new game yet, but the stuff I have seen is just like, oh my God, it's really kind of extraordinary.
Yeah.
And when Jen told me what happens in the new game, I was so excited. She told me everything that goes on in the new. No, she wouldn't tell me. Tell me anything, would you?
Maybe you could share some of that now, Jen, perhaps.
Here,
just
let me
a little bit.
Tell all the secrets.
Just a little bit.
All right, we're getting some exclusives here on the stream. Let's go. We're breaking some NDAs. Let's crack right to the heart of
Okay, I'm going to break one NDA here, and I hope 343. But there is something I want to tell you about the new game that I don't think.
No, at the end, Steve.
No, well, I think it'll be okay, right? I mean, we're pretty close. I think we could talk about it.
No, I'm saying at 1:55, Steve.
All right, so we'll keep our audience hanging on for this very, very special thing.
I jumped my cue.
Yeah, you did.
But in all seriousness, we will return to some very special information for all of you at the very end of the panel. That was just a little tease to get you all ready for some salacious details that are exclusive to GalaxyCon Live. We got you, fam. And speaking of our fam that we got, let's see what the next question our fam has got for you guys. This is from Jose. What is a dream role or project for each of you? This to open it up, because I always like to, so that's not pigeonholed into one particular category. It can also be stuff that may already be out in the world and you may not have had the opportunity to work on, but it's still a thing that you would like to in another timeline have been a part of.
I think it would be really fun to do a live action version of Halo.
Huh. God, that'll probably never happen.
I know. I wonder. That would be really
on
fun.
If only you could.
Halo on ice.
There we go. Halo on ice.
I can see it. And the best part would be is I would still be off in a corner at a microphone.
Yeah.
That's all I do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'd be anywhere but on ice. I can tell you that.
No, you'd be throwing me around. I'd be twirling over your head.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't last very long. Let me tell you.
Then
Me
flying
on
into
ice
the stands.
No, yeah, Master Chief on ice skates. Not a pretty picture.
Yeah, I'd want to do a TV show about Halo. That would be fun. Maybe I'd, do it in. I'm not going to say anymore. Yeah, maybe that's.
The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit for Halo. We've certainly seen some dabbling in live action. So a full blown Halo that sure would be a thing.
Why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we get somebody rad to play all these roles Pablo Schreiber or Natasha McElhone? Maybe they.
They'd never do it, would they?
Yeah, no, I don't think they would.
Nah. I don't think they're available. Oh well, it'll just have to be a dream.
Yeah, dream.
Until next year.
Yes.
Anyway. What did I say that? Sorry.
But actually, for Steve and Jeff, any dream projects, either existing or still in the dream space in your head that you would love to tackle?
Well, I'm going to steal Jeff's line from the last question. I'm living the dream. This is this last 20 years has been so far beyond anything I ever thought I would be able to do in my career, that to wish for anything beyond this almost feels sinful. So I really, I'm not trying to be coy. It's just, for me, it just doesn't get any better than this. To be able to, do what I did in radio and then have this be the second act is, it's there. Words don't really do it justice to how I feel about it. It's just trying to hang on and do the whole thing justice. But
ride the bull.
Ride the bull. There you go. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have to have any aspirations beyond this. I just can't imagine what it would be, other than maybe going up in Jeff Bezos' space capsule there.
Hey.
If they can send Shatner up, come on.
Yeah,
you could go. Maybe if Shatner
send the chief to space. Send the chief to space.
But you'd have to fight aliens.
That's
okay. Ready?
Somebody in 4-3 is just starting to vibrate like what?
Hey, Shatner didn't have one of these, did he? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure they're not going to ask him to check that before he gets in the capsule. It's like,
I love the picture.
Prepared.
I love the picture of him sitting there with all of the red shirts. Have you seen this in social media?
No.
It's him and everybody else. They all are wearing red.
That's an omen.
Yeah. It was rad.
It's been established that I direct plays as well as act and do voice work and all that kind of stuff. There's a play I've always wanted to do by Henrik Ibsen called Peer Gynt. It's never going to happen. It's got a huge cast.
And
it's about 5 hours long.
Yeah.
To be done uncut.
Oh, wow.
No one's going to do it. That would be the project that is waiting for me out there, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool.
But
I can read it.
Hear me out. There is YouTube. There have been successful broadcasts of long form plays. You could always bake in an intermission. Fathom has been doing all those events. So I'm just saying.
That is true.
Theatrical event, put in a 15-minute intermission. Boom, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Got
Long
you, Jeff.
attention span for this one, though. I don't know. I'm just that day may be over. It's possible.
Yeah, I'm just saying, get the right cast for that. You'll have butts and seats, no questions asked. So I think we have time for at least one more before we start to wrap this one up. Let's see what we have coming up in the queue. All right, this one is from Joshua. This one should be nice and easy. This is a question about what is your favorite medal in Halo multiplayer?
I've never played Halo multiplayer. I watched my husband play it and got yelled at, and so I don't know.
Yeah, the last time I played Halo, an 11-year-old girl beat the pants off of me, and was so humiliated. And that was 15, 16 years ago, and I was so humiliated that I've never tried it again. So for me to get a medal of any kind, I got I think a participation medal for Halo. Thanks for playing. That was my medal.
So her disgust, the look of disgust on her face was your medal.
Oh God, it was. Yeah, you've never been that humiliated to have an 11-year-old girl look at you like
fool.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always liked.
Okay, you're the chief. Wow. Okay. Fine.
You've always what?
What was that?
Killer.
Kill tac. Yes. Yeah, I'm very particular to those ones for the multi-kill achievements because it's the most fun. It just reminds you, oh great, you just like wrecked this entire game. You gave everybody a bad time like you're supposed to, but with a friendly sportsman-like attitude, ideally.
Give us some of that, Jeff.
The one that I like the most that never made it into the game is Cheney Mania.
Oh man!
Which is when you shoot one of your own players.
Oh no!
Cheney Mania.
Oh,
What happened was it was only going to be heard like once every 1,000 times or something. They thought they could slip it in. The day we recorded it, I could hardly get through it because
I can imagine
when somebody heard it from Microsoft.
They went,
no.
So whenever I can say it in a public situation, I do.
Try.
That is
try to drop that.
That's
there were a
brilliant.
couple like that. They were like, why did you not make it?
That's terrible.
I think it's pretty good.
We need to leak this so that someone can make it an audio mod patch.
But he already has.
I leak it all the time. I'm always saying it. Anybody will listen, And check out girl. By the way.
For Halo players of a certain vintage, to paraphrase one of my favorite YouTube presenters, it's like, no, please give us that. Like, we want that as a bonus because, oh God.
Yeah.
I love the checkout lady. Like, that's fine, sir. Your total is $140.
Yeah, right.
Get back in that booth. Exactly.
So we'll start to wrap this one up. We promised you some good exclusive details. Steve, by the power vested in me by the spoiler police at GalaxyCon, I give you full authority.
You're gonna get in so much trouble, Steve.
Well, yeah. I mean, now that I've had a chance.
What are they gonna do? Fire the chief? He's got a plasma rifle.
Yeah. No, it really doesn't work though. I was kidding about that. But anyway, I just think this is a small thing, but it does happen towards the end of the game, and it's sort of a critical moment. And I think it's going to come out of. I think people are going to be really be terrified when they realize